Alright, how's it going, guys? I've got a little bit of background music as well. If you guys don't like it, please let me know, but we're just going to get straight into it. I should give you guys a little bit of background. There is a game that came out a very long time ago, and it is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters on the Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color. It was on one of them. I had the Advance. I don't know if it came out earlier. It looks like it came out on the Advance. It was this game right here, and I've always felt like it was a huge missed opportunity in the video game industry, and I'm looking forward to delving deeper into this. So, it's really hard to kind of explain how it works, but the core functionality is quite simple. Both players roll dice, they get a range of different things pop up, and then the game proceeds that way. Now, it is turn-based. And I was giving it some more thought today, and this is one of the reasons I've come on today, is I want to get all this down onto paper ASAP. But I was giving it some more thought today, and one of my favorite, because I know that this, if I had to think of where this would be best suited, it's very powerful as a mobile game in general. I mean, it came out on the Game Boy Advance, for God's sake, what I would call the predecessor to mobile gaming. It would clearly be very good as a mobile game. But I gave it some more thought, and I'm like, it needs to be faster paced than it was back then, because I played it again recently. I got like a little handheld console, played it kind of how you would expect it to be played, and it just felt a lot slower than I was a kid. Now, maybe my attention span has dropped a lot. Like, there's no denying that. That's probably what has happened. But one of my favorite mobile games ever is Marvel Snap. If I can give it the Marvel Snap treatment and make it feel really snappy and fast-paced in any way that doesn't degrade the gameplay and what I remember, I think I can turn this into a pretty epic, fun, casual game, into a mobile game. I'm confident I could build it all myself. I don't know what the characters and the IP would look like. Ideally, I would actually pitch this to Illuvium at some point. But let's get the game docs done first. Start building some sort of prototype, and then we can go from there as well. If I want to build a team, if I want to actually take this to the next step, if people like it, and that is a different thing altogether. But for now, it's just a fun side hobby project, just something I've always wanted to do. My idea is to do this all on stream. So it's going to take me a very, very long time because I don't have that much time to do it right now. But if I ever did have a lot of time to do it, then that would be there too. But I'm just excited to get these game design docs done. And I figured, just do it. Like, as a famous Nike once said, just do it. And that's where we're at right now. So I'm going to get started on the game design docs now, basically. So let's do it. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters. I'm calling this Project DICEY, as you guys can see from the thumbnail, video, title, and so on and so forth. And in this game, it had 2 game modes. It had a player versus player, I believe. You could play against someone, but back in the Game Boy days, that was kind of difficult. But it had a single player tournament style thing as well. I'm going to turn down the volume. I can't hear myself. Okay. You guys can't hear it. Here we go. That should be all right. Okay. And so I want to focus on the player versus player elements of the game and then move into maybe player versus environment type stuff. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I like the idea of loot box type thing and stuff like that. What's in my head is I never played it a whole lot, but either Fire Emblem Heroes on the mobile or Pokemon Masters, I think it was called, the gacha mobile game that they made. I actually did enjoy it for a little bit. I actually kind of want to get back into it, but that's neither here nor there. So I do think there's a really strong use case for that sort of thing as well. But I'm not going to worry about that yet. We're just going to start on all the game design documents, and then we'll go from there. I actually want to talk to ChatGPT right as we kick this off. And the first thing I'm going to ask it is this. I am currently working on a brand new game design project. My first ever. For game design docs, where do you recommend I write them? I'm assuming the 2 key places would be Notion or Google Docs. I'm a lot more familiar with Google Docs. Google Docs and Notion pop up straight away. We've also got Microsoft OneNote. Oh, I hate Trello. Microsoft Word, God no. Miro, I don't know what that is. Game design software. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that existed, but fair enough. So, cons, Google Docs requires an internet connection for full functionality. Notion, highly flexible, supports a variety of content types. Excellent for organization, collaboration features. Cons can have a learning curve, so advanced features require a subscription. I think the big difference between the 2 is Notion will allow me to use a lot more imagery and stuff easier. I feel like it does that really well. So we're going to actually learn Notion on the fly here. We might as well. I believe I have an account. I don't know what it is. I'll figure that out now. The login should be fine. I don't know what Notion calendar is. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, I'll have to go to that Notion calendar thing later. That sounds interesting. There is a desktop app. I'm not going to bother with that for now. But here we go. We've got an untitled thing. We will call it Project DICEY. And now we begin, I suppose. But AI. Ooh. Alright, I don't know. I don't really want to use AI for this. What's the little plus do? Add a page inside. I see. Okay. So we'll be able to add pages for different things, it seems. So this I think will be the better solution than Google Docs would have been. Okay. And so we've got abstract. Maybe that can be the first page. We'll do all the pages first. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Although. we can actually ask ChatGPT. Because I'm very new to all this, and I feel like ChatGPT can teach me. Project summary. Yep. Goals and objectives. Team members. I don't need any of that yet, but I could add that anyways. Might as well make this as professional as I can. Okay. Let's get started. Project overview. I like better. Oh, that. Game concept. So can you do pages inside pages? Let me have a look. Game concept. And then if I add a page inside there, I can do, what did ChatGPT suggest? Story and lore, gameplay mechanics. All right, story and lore. I'm going to do that kind of late in the project here, but I still have it. Game modes. Maybe. Game mechanics. That's good. Art style and theme. Don't know if I'll do that for now. Wow, there's a lot of stuff that goes into a video game. Holy crap, guys. Pi.ai. I can't say that I do. Quickly have a look. Uh-huh. The first emotionally intelligent AI. Oh yeah. Looks interesting. But no, I never heard of it. Okay, core gameplay loop is key. Problem is, there's going to be several gameplay loops, right? Oh no, but there'll be the main gameplay loop and some other. I think I like that. Levels and environments. Docs. Like ChatGPT, but better. She can talk to. It didn't give me the end of that message, mate. Main game docs. I don't really need enemies and stuff yet. I've got quite a specific idea. Engines and tools, performance target. I like that. Apply that in here. Sorry, 9th. UI UX, I definitely want to section that. So I can have a separate section for game mechanic. Maybe I'll have one for game design element. Or game art, maybe? Sorry. Yeah, and I have UI UX design in there. Side game mechanics, I have levels and environment, but I can move that game art, I think. I guess the other things I can do are competitors and things like that, which would come even before them at the main docs. So what I've got so far is we've got the main game docs, the story and lore I would have for the game, the game modes, quite important, and I would have several pages for the game modes, but I haven't figured out what they are yet. Add cover. Ooh. Okay, well I'll figure that out later, I suppose. I'm gonna delete the cover. Remove? Yeah, okay. Then I would also have the game art, UI UX design, levels and environments, and then I would add like characters and enemies probably in there as well. Engines and tools would be in there. Things that I need to learn, I would learn them over time while on these devlogs and things like that as well. And then I've also got in the game mechanics, I've got the core gameplay loop. I also need the collectible items. Collectible items. I'm just going to call it that. I don't know what else to call them. There's no guarantee this would be NFTs. I would like it to be, but that's a whole lot of extra work that I don't know how to do, so not worrying about that for now. Engines and tools, game art, I've got all that. Looks like it's pretty good for now. So let's get started on project overview. So if I have a look at what it says, project summary, goals and objectives, team members. I think that's better. I think I should delete this team members thing and put it in here. I'm all 3 team members. Wrong kind of. There's the wrong kind of heading. Damn it. Better? Then we've also got let's name this overview. So, Project DICEY is greatly inspired by the game developed by, who made it? Konami or whatever they're called? That's Konami. Yeah, Konami. Under the game name. Can I add a link? Is that a thing I can add? Whoa. It's complicated. God. Link? No, not to an existing page. You can add a Figma design directly in Notion? That's crazy. Oh, I can't just add like a regular ass link. So what happens if I just copy this over? Name it Dungeon Dice Monsters. Down below. You are late? How's it going, Jose? You're barely late. I'm just getting started. In the game, players simply play opponent after opponent, collecting dice as they beat them. The core gameplay loop for this is quite simple, right? You roll 3 dice every turn, and if 2 dice with matching star values appear, then you, how do I put this? You can place a monster on the board. To really play this on stream to show you guys what I mean, but you can actually see it from the TV show as well. Might actually grab that.
Call it. So in this game,
Oh my god, that's actually from the game. That's funny.
Granola Warrior. There's also the Mushroom Man.
See how old school it is.
Oh, I guess that works. Yeah.
I'd still love this
The
game.
next most important.
But they actually had a full episode on TV. 2 episodes, I believe. Maybe 1. I think it was 2.
Yu-Gi-Oh! First
Where they actually played the
50
game.
is where the series took a small detour.
And that's where the actual video game spawned from, but they never actually took it further than that, which I always felt was weird. So I want to make the game more fun and fast-paced. I want each dice to feel unique, even if 2 dice share the same character. Which I feel is like where the really big part of the missed opportunity actually comes. Is in the game, you could actually get 2 of the same character, but their dice would have 6 slightly different faces, which meant that those 2 characters played very differently. If I can get that right, I think this could be a really special game. Means the game can focus on 3 dice. Interesting. Hey, betting a whole web page is insane. I actually really like Notion all of a sudden. Alright. Need a bulleted list here. Goals and objectives. It should be easy to pick up and play. I always felt like the handheld game was somewhat like that, but what I fear is that if I start adding all these other characters and other interesting elements to the game, that I could really quickly lose that thing, and I really don't want to lose that. And so I've actually got these thoughts in my head of like a roguelike scenario, and so I'll go through that soon. When I go through game mechanics, I might actually make several core gameplay loops, version 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is what I really want to get to today, and start writing them onto paper, because that's what's stuck in my head, but we'll get to that very soon. It should be easy to pick up and play. It should be accessible on mobile and PC. I don't love mobile games personally, but I feel like Marvel Snap made me appreciate them. Because if you design something for mobile well, it's great. But if you don't, it's annoying. So I feel like as long as I keep that in mind and make sure it's designed well for mobile, that's fine. But I just think it suits mobile particularly well. That's all. I don't think this runs that well as a PC game. I like PC games that are more about like shooters and RPGs and things like that. Whereas I used to play Hearthstone a lot on the PC. When it went to mobile, I enjoyed it even more. The same with TFT. And so I feel like there are some genres that fit really well with mobile. This is going to be one of them. And so I'm looking forward to that. To be accessible on mobile and PC. Every character should feel unique. Every dice should be good enough to 3D print. No, that's a bad way to put it. Interesting, and I can't think of another way to describe it, but beautiful. I feel like every dice should just have this like ornate, beautiful finish that you can't get in other stuff. It's my program. This is a Notion that I'm using now, but I'm designing my own video game at the moment. Yeah. Are there any other goals and objectives I should be putting in here? needs to have high replayability. I think that's a really big one, and probably one that's quite hard to... It's going to be quite hard to pull off. Oh, there's the little link button. Whatever. Alright. So that is the overview for the design docs. I don't think I need to overcomplicate some of these things. I think the game modes, mechanics, and things like that definitely need to be somewhat decent. But as far as this goes, it doesn't need to be crazy. Competitors. Okay. There are some core competitors in the mobile and PC space. Need to be analyzed so I can take away their best aspects and eliminate their worst aspects. So, number one is definitely going to be Marvel Snap. I want to take as much from Marvel Snap as I can to make this game as fun as I possibly can. I feel like Marvel Snap nailed it in terms of pacing, gameplay elements, replayability, all the rest of it. Their game is like perfect in terms of the mobile market. Candy Crush Saga is well known. Monument Valley, Plants vs. Zombies. I feel like that's not a terrible example. Freeze, I don't know what that is. Alto's Adventure, Temple Run, Clash of Clans, PUBG Mobile has done really well. Stardew Valley, Sims Mobile, Genshin Impact. I did not know Stardew Valley was on mobile. Among Us, Fruit Ninja, Crossy Road. Beat Saber is not mobile, but okay. Interesting. Pokemon Go is one I probably should add here. And then I'm going to add Hearthstone since it's a 1v1 duel. And then maybe Teamfight Tactics can go on here as well. Wait, was that a good trailer or not? Let's have a look. Didn't know any gameplay. Okay. There we go.
Enough said, bub.
Group photo after this?
We can lose the battle, but we don't win the war. Going with doom at your own peril. When things get tough, that's when we show up. That's when we show up. Oh,
Not a bad trailer. Adding in the trailers. Oh my god, Dr. Boom. Oh, quite humorous, hey. Yeah, I have played the game. That's where all this draws from, is I've always wanted to remake that game into something. I've always felt like it was a big missed opportunity, Ned. That's where a lot of this has come from, so. You can see in my overview, I referenced the game and the wiki page for the game and stuff as well. I actually played it recently too. It holds up surprisingly well. It's very slow, a lot slower than I remember, but yeah. It was on the Game Boy Advance. Marvel Snap. Excellent pacing. Both players move simultaneously. I don't know if that's possible to accomplish with this game, but if it is, I think that's a big win. Deck sizes are small, easy to grasp. RNG feels equal against both opponents. I think they do that really, really well. The visuals and gameplay feel extremely snappy, especially on mobile. Alluvium Giants Monsters. Hey, it's on my mind, and the team is going to have a game pitch jam thing at some point. So I can see myself putting this forward column, but I just want to do this for my own experience. I'm looking forward to it. So I can't think of anything bad from Marvel Snap. What does Marvel Snap do bad? Can you guys give me a hand with that? Alright, I'm burning up. Just give me 1 sec, guys. We get a quick drink. Sorry about that. I was not doing great. I've eaten very little today, but I feel a lot better now. Okay. Okay, so they're all about annoying matchmaking and stuff, but none of them are actually saying the game is bad. They do remind me of the snap mechanic. Extra layer of skill. Okay, Pokemon Go. Catching mechanic is simple, yet boring. It's actually like my least favorite thing about the game. 1v1 combat is easy to pick up and play. Doesn't mean it's good, but it's definitely easy and people seem to love it. And easy to understand. Looks like we're going mostly with positives here. It can isolate players without anyone to play with ever since they added that raid mechanic. Great to build up your collection over a long period of time. I feel like any mobile game that does this well does a really good job. I feel like Marvel Snap never did this very well. Cards is more of a chore than enjoying, than fun. I feel like that's a negative there. I wonder if I can change the color of the text. That's fine, doesn't matter. Sometimes new finds, random stats make new encounters still stay exciting long term. Like that's something I can utilize. Hearthstone, okay. Eases you into deck building quite well. But it can be a bit repetitive. I feel like the deck building is a bit repetitive. But I feel like the matches don't take too long. Every class feels unique. Still snappy on newer phones, but has some trouble with older hardware, which can really take away from the experience. Many of the UI elements are way too small for mobile. I feel like they didn't quite port it as well as they could have. See, necessary. Depending on who you're playing and stuff like that. Alright, teamfight tactics. Take a surprising amount of time for mobile. It has the same issue. Small for mobile. Strategy and replayability is king. Every character can feel unique, and the sets keep it refreshing, for sure. Cosmetic collectibles are all really high quality. We'll say that. Alright, that's what I'll take away from that. So these are all things I need to keep in mind as I design for a mobile platform, generally speaking. And now we move on to the main game doc. Story and lore. Don't know yet. Game modes. Okay. Heading to adventure. I got some sort of PvE adventure mode, PvP ranked ladder. PvP definitely some sort of free-for-all ranked ladder. I would love to see this game mode taken further into like a 4-player 1v1v1v1. Or an 8-player, but let's stick with 4-player for now, but it depends what the game mechanics and the systems actually look like first. But I really like the idea of FFA ranked ladder. I don't know what the last game mode should be. Should they just be 3? Or should I have 4 or 5? Oh, some sort of co-op game mode would be really cool. PvP 2v2 ranked ladder. I think would be really exciting. Okay. Depending on how they play, they can win dice from their opponents or earn currency to buy dice from the store. This may include a tournament structure, game puzzles, tutorial style gameplay, maybe ghosts, really specific opponents that are difficult to beat. The last thing I want for that is for it to have an answer. There's nothing worse than having like a game mode where you go in and you battle these opponents, right? But what if that opponent is the same every time? Then someone makes a YouTube video that's just like, here's how you beat it. Use this, this, and this. Do this, this, and this move, and you win. It definitely needs enough RNG to avoid that. Against... I wonder if I could take this down a real-time strategy route, and that's how I can do the fast-paced and the PvP ranked ladder. It sounds difficult because you would need to roll the dice the same amount of times or it stops making sense. And could you really move pieces at the same time? But the way Marvel Snap does it is it layers the moves on top of each other. And so you both do your move at the very same time, but then it gets calculated in a different order depending on how the move was done. Where that gets difficult is if your move against your opponent is going to attack in Dungeon Dice Monsters, it was their heart points. Obviously, it would be probably something different here. I always thought that was a little bit weird, but you would have to figure that out. If you could figure that out, I think you could overlap things on top of each other. Because one of the most fun parts about the game was you could like attack someone, then they could either shield or not shield. And in this scenario, then they could be shielding and you don't attack them, and then you waste a shield and they don't waste an attack. That could be a really interesting gameplay mechanic, so I like that. Play against opponents in fast-paced duels, where the winner earns score for a Glico ranking. The end of each season, players earn rewards, currency, dice, and other cosmetics. Play against several opponents, either round robin style or all at once. I haven't decided yet. Top up. Gain score up. Bottom half. Blue score in there. Go ranking. A random or chosen ally against two opponents. Okay, increases their rank and Glico rating. I think those sound like really fun game modes. I will do them in more depth. Let me add some things. How tight this time? What the hell? So these are the 4 game modes I want. The game mechanics for Project DICEY dictate players' turns, what they do each turn, how they win, the game's objectives, and level. Alright, here's where I'm starting to get stuck. Alright, here's the big focus for today. I know it's already been an hour, but we're starting to get into it now. Game version 1 is going to be classic. Version 2 is going to be Marvel Snap style. So really fast paced. And version 3 is going to be roguelike. Roguelite? I don't know which one it is. The classic style. Each player brings in a deck of 20 dice. Can't remember what it was here. I can't remember. Oh gosh, so late. Each player brings in a deck of 20 dice. They take turns placing the dice, doing everything in their move, moving units, attacking opponents, and trying to destroy the enemy nexus. I always just like nexus as like a base term, so I'm going to stick with nexus for this. Is there much more to it than that? Dice have 6 faces with powerful characters being more difficult to summon. Summary is that. Turn breakdown. player chooses 3 dice from their available deck. Then roll the dice. The 3 faces here. 2 of the faces I think I've jumped the gun a little bit. The dice. I think the dice itself are going to be consistent across them all, so I better isolate what these look like. Oh, someone actually made them. That's really cool. Did someone make a physical game for it? Because that would be hype. Alright, anyways. Let's not get too distracted. Okay. Each dice in the game will have 6 unique faces. A weaker character, such as might have 3 faces with a star represented, and a stronger character might have only 1. The other faces on dice will contain symbol. These dictate the other currencies the player requires to proceed with their turn in game. Alright, here are the different possible faces. Star. Number. If 2 of these appear when rolling, then the player can summon either character. Besides that, they are useless. Some characters twice with a 1 mark, so on. Character block attack and use their defense power damage. Okay. Against their opponent. These marks allow a character to attack the opponent, use their attack power, damage to them, hopefully eliminate them from the board. Positive energy from Japan. Love to hear it, Lafont. How's it going, mate? These rare marks allow a character to use a special ability. Use a special ability that can help out player battle. Match in a variety of ways. Do I keep it simple with just 5 different kinds of dice faces? Let me have a look. There was one I'm missing, but I can't remember what it freaking was. "30-second pitch." I used to love a game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters. The idea is you throw out dice, try and summon characters onto the board, and then use them to defeat your opponent. It's kind of simple. I'm trying to actually further simplify it and or make it more fun, and just create entire game design documents for this game. I probably won't be going more than an hour longer because I'm getting pretty tired, but we're making some good progress today. I think the next thing I would definitely do is start to learn Blender and try and actually design one of the dice themselves. That would be some of the cooler aspects of this entire thing. I am hoping that if I can get enough of this work done, that when Illuvium eventually has their like game pitch thing, I might actually be able to shoot over the shoot this over as a game pitch jam. It'd be a lot of fun. Summer is too hot. Love to hear it, the fun. I don't know what other possible dice faces could be. Well, I guess if I think of others, I can always add them later. Okay, the classic style. Each player brings a deck of 20 dice. They take turns placing the dice, moving units, attacking opponents, and trying to destroy the enemy nexus. Dice have 6 faces, the more powerful characters being more difficult to summon. Thanks, Lafont. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but it's just going to be a lot of fun, that's all. We'll suck at Notion. pay that much. Turn timer 30 seconds. Player turns, let's say 20 turns a player. That's probably right. Total turns 40. Match duration was that 20 minutes? What happens if you collect the ILV? The ILV for the preseason stuff, you would be forfeiting any of the extra ILV if you did wait the 3 months vesting. Game difficulty, moderate. Game accessibility, moderate. Not super hard to pick up, but definitely not super easy or anything like that either. I think that's good. Turn breakdown. A player chooses 3 dice from their available deck, then roll the dice and 3 faces appear. If 2 of the faces show the star value, they are able to summon a character. All remaining dice faces are added as marks into the player's pool. They place any new characters and use movement marked characters onto the board. They use any movement marks to move existing characters. They use attack marks to attack opponents. They end their turn. Ability. Do I call them ability marks or ultimate marks? Right. Marks cast special abilities. They end their turn. And that is the classic style. If I copy all that, go to the Marvel Snap style, paste it. Each player brings in a deck of 10 dice, maybe? Or is that too few? 15? Well, if you had 3 of each, if you had like 3 or 4 classes of strength, with 2 or 3 of each, you go front heavy, back heavy. I think you get away with 12 dice. Turn timer. I think you've got a similar turn timer. Probably a little bit shorter because of the overlapping stuff. So you do 20 to 40 seconds. Total turns is 20 because they move simultaneously. Meaning the match duration is 10 to 15 minutes, I think. Game difficulty is moderate. Game accessibility is definitely high though. Player chooses 3 dice from their available deck. You definitely do 30 to 40 seconds. A player chooses 3 dice from their available deck. They then roll the dice and 3 faces appear. If 2 of the faces show the star value, they are able to summon a character. All the remaining dice faces are added as marks of the player's pool. Of course. They place any new characters onto the board. They use any movement marks to move existing characters. They use attack marks to attack opponents. They predictively use defense marks to prevent the attacks of opponents. They end their turn. It's actually pretty much the same. You can actually overlap everything. The only thing that gets weird is attacking and defending from opponents. The only other thing is if you like place something on the board and it unfolds or whatever, your opponent wouldn't be able to see that until next turn. Or would they? Do you overlap that as well? No, I feel like it's too confusing. You just have that appear later, but how do you do that? How practical is it? Is immediately revealed to their opponent. I don't think this would play as well as I'm hoping it would. There's a lot I would need to solve. If I could solve that, I think it's the better option. But there's a lot I would need to solve. Okay. Roguelite is where it starts to get interesting. Neither player brings in a deck of dice. This has pretty much the same thing. Game accessibility very high. Game difficulty easy. This is the most accessible option by far. 3 dice appear. They choose 1 to add to their pool. At the start of the game, they choose 5 dice to add to their pool. And add 1 new dice every sub. No. No. Let's make it simpler. 5 dice appear. They choose 3 to roll for that given turn. Yep. And then roll the dice and 3 faces appear. 2 of the faces show blah blah blah. All remaining dice faces are added as marks. Yep. They place new characters on the board. But the core difference between them is in the first one, you come in with a deck, quite a large deck. You pick your 3 things and you take turns battling it out. In the second one, the deck is a lot smaller and simpler. You both play the game at the very same time. I need to solve for how do you do combat. I think that's doable. But the hard part is, how do you show people summoning their characters in real time? I don't know if it works without doing that. And in the third version, 5 dice appear, maybe more, haven't decided. You choose 3 and you roll them for that given turn. You kind of need to learn some of the characters, but you don't have to. You can easily implement some sort of recommended system, like you have no movement marks, so these 3 dice are recommended to gain movement marks, or you have, you could pick these 3 to go for a 2-star character, or these 3 to go to a 3-star character. I think it's very easy to treat that, and so I definitely think it's possible. But I really like this roguelite scenario. I don't know how many people are actually actively watching, and if they want to weigh in here, but the big thing I'm going to do is actually try and poll my community on what they think would be cool here. And so explaining this to them in a short, concise manner on Twitter is difficult. So I want to go down the right road when I go down this whole path, right? I've got a lot of documentation now. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but I think I've done a decent job for today. But what's most important is I explain these styles. So we might as well write a tweet. Actually, just write it in one thing. One classic, 2. accessible. Players show 5 random dice each turn. So this is the big question I want to get answered today, and that's why I'm doing that right now. So I might actually wrap up the stream with that, and then once I have the answer to this, it will make more sense to continue writing the game docs and finishing them all off. I'll reach out to lots of different people and get their advice and their thoughts. And yeah. "42 stage 1 wins." What does stage 1 win actually mean? Oh, you won 42 stage 1 battles in 2 runs? That's insane. Okay. Love to hear that, Thor. Love to hear that. Weekly challenge. Crazy. Alright, that's in there. We will also add it in here. Nope, 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 nope. Why didn't it embed? There it is. UI UX Figma. Dice Designs Blender for now, I suppose. Game animation. Game engine. Probably Unity. I think that's what's best for mobile, but I would rather Unreal. I would just do or Unreal, it's undecided. Game art, Photoshop, game iconography, Figma, and Illustrator. Game videos. After Effects. Yeah. Alright, I love it. I'm really tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Have a good one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you learned something. I learned a lot today. Mostly how to write Notion and that I know nothing about game design, but we'll improve and we'll learn over time. And yeah, we'll get these game design docs finished eventually. I'm sure when the game jam stuff starts happening, it'll pressure me to really wrap this up as well. So there's that. But I'll slowly learn more about what it takes to do all this, and I'll make the game design docs as detailed as I possibly can. One step at a time, guys, but I am way too tired to do this right now. Have a good one, everyone.